The most important thing is that you don't shit yourself.
That is priority numero uno. And you laugh, but 50% of the guests have ended up shitting themselves.
I think it might be higher. I think it might be higher than 50.
Yeah.
It's a horrible chair.
To shit yourself on it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the white trousers is confident to be a guest on.
Yeah, on Boys Go Wild.
Guest on Boys Go Wild.
I've done this for years, so that's why I wear.
I shit myself every single week. I shit myself. But let's get more serious for a second.
Yeah, let's actually dive into the real issues.
We're joined here today by Eloise. Is that your stage name, Eloise?
That's my stage name.
Eloise Lamb is your actual name. What? So that's your name's Eloise.
Yeah.
What?
Good that you two are so close.
Yeah. What's where did you come up with the crazy idea for that stage name?
I'll tell you.
What's the story?
I've had two stage names.
Yeah. Was the other one Lamb?
The other one, that's my birth name. My first stage name was Eloise Lawrence because I did a film.
Yeah.
I was like kind of dead set on not having the same second name as my dad, who's like
David Lammy.
Yes, exactly.
The politician David Lammy.
She just has a really white mother.
Yeah.
Her dad's David Lammy.
Yeah. Famously.
It's very surprising to me. Sunday roasts are very confusing.
But yeah, so that was my stage name for two films, and then it changed back, and then I think I was just like, Eloise is actually long to remember.
Yeah.
Did you not think of going for something a bit more crazy, like the Dark Destroyer?
I considered I considered things like that. No, but the problem is I think people like then go to me and they think I'm like trying to be an Adele or a Beyonce, and they think it's like arrogant to call yourself like just a one name thing. Yeah. But like you try and spell and remember Eloise, like it's not as easy as Adele and all those things.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Well, it's fairly simple, but I mean most people spell it with a U in it.
Do you put a little umlaut on the I?
I do put an umlaut on the I.
It's good to learn new things.
I'm not German, but it's a French name, and if you don't put that on the I, it goes Eloise.
Eloise, okay.
I get called that frequently.
And then your Instagram handle's Eloise.
Yeah.
So
which I think is going to change.
Leads to a lot of confusion.
Yes, so much. No one knows what I'm called.
Exactly.
In a sense.
Are you wheezy?
Yeah, because it reminds me of having a cough.
People call me Young Wheeze, which I'm not a fan of.
Do you have asthma?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
My sister's suffered lifelong.
So I think it
was
actually
so I'm touching on it.
I think
it was. I saw that and I was like, that's called stolen valor.
Yeah.
You know,
I think you're appropriating other people's issues.
Yeah. My sister's fought with wheeziness all her life, and then you're just a frivolous sort of
young wheeze.
Young wheeze.
Clearly don't know.
Young wheeze. Oh no, it's still the same. It's still bad. Yeah. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, now's your chance to apologise to the asthmatic community.
Publicly apologise.
I mean, Little Wheezy being like a Atlanta trap rapper who has asthma and who has an asthma pump. That's like his
part
thing.
Of the beat. Get it. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, you're a singer-songwriter. So guitar and the voice and that.
And the voice.
And then you have been. This is Andrew Girlfriend Reveal. That's what I'm going to call the app. Andrew GF Reveal.
Yeah.
I was planning for ages a joke about GF Reveal.
Right. Now's your time.
No, because I couldn't really find the right opportunity.
Well,
I wanted something mental, like a hideous creature or something, and I wanted to comment Andrew GF Reveal. I wanted a big set. I wanted a big setup because we talked a lot
like
about you.
Goblin.
Right, yeah, that's
something,
so true.
but I didn't know what medium I could get that
across.
But there was a great joke out there.
If you did the effort to animate a goblin,
it was
for
almost
a whole episode.
It wouldn't be funnier from me. It'd be funnier from a listener if we'd said like, "What's
and did
this?"
a whole episode where we spoke to an animated goblin.
No, or like, and someone goes, "Lol, Andrew GF Reveal." Like that would be a great joke. Do you know what I mean?
They have to make the joke.
Yeah, I know. But it's that's. I've been thinking a long time about that joke, and I could never work out. And now it's too late because you've been revealed.
Because it's actually been revealed now. Yeah.
But you started as a listener of the pod, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
Well, like not a very long-term listener. I was just.
All right.
Okay. So sorry.
Yeah, you specify that every time I bring that up.
I'm now
every
a
day.
Patreon.
Barely listened.
Just taps on the shoulder. I didn't listen to it for that.
No, I'd seen a couple of like clips on TikTok.
Sure.
And then listened to a few episodes, and then had the notion that I had to meet Andrew. Sorry.
Through the pod.
I wanted to meet you too.
What was the?
Nothing sexual.
Do you know what the clip was? What the?
I think it was the lesbian one.
Was it actually? No.
I actually think this is so mortifying, but I do think it was Sundays for the girls.
Really? That's so basic. That's so humiliating. You joined the queue.
I was like, great.
I mean, Christ. That's
Well, I was part of a massive queue of people that were there to meet Andrew.
All with main character syndrome.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So you came to the live pod.
Yeah.
You know, and it's problematic power dynamics for sure.
Right.
You know, liaising with a fan.
Yeah.
But I guess this one's offset because you're
a lot
considerably more successful than
Andrew. Considerably.
I don't know though. I mean,
because if you didn't have a career at all, it doesn't reflect well on Andrew.
No.
No.
I don't. Well, yeah.
Young woman, you know, listens to the
guy,
pod.
It's quite on brand for Andrew to go down that route. Love you.
He's got a Crystalia pipeline.
I don't run a sex cult.
No.
Did you watch his doc?
I did watch the doc.
Did you watch his doc?
No.
Whose doc? What?
Oh, probably. Yeah.
Elders, you don't know who Crystalia is, do you?
No.
Sexual predator comedian.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad.
He does both though.
Yeah. I think he prefers comedian.
He prefers comedian. Yeah, that's not in his Instagram bio.
Well, no, it's first comedian, second.
Sexual predator. Well, he's in a cult. He's the head of a sex cult.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly, because he's still kicking about.
He's still acting like he's not head of.
He's in prison.
He's still
in prison.
Is he
he's
in
not
prison
dead.
at last?
Yeah, he's been for a while ago. He went in prison.
Oh wow, I had absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
But I watched the documentary.
R.
fairly
Kelly
recently.
sounds like a Manchester person talking about their son Kelly.
Wife Kelly.
Why?
Old Kelly.
Well, why? Son?
Kelly.
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 For a boy.
Kelly.
Yeah, I guess so. No, wife. Do you say
Yeah.
Or is it anyone you're related
Kelly.
to? Right.
Yeah.
Not related, just sort of.
Kelly's been pissing on teenagers. That's true. Yeah, that kind of works. But yeah, so you came to the live pod with a gaggle of young women as well.
Well, 2 of them weren't part of my gaggle.
No.
You made friends.
I made friends there.
Yeah.
I came with my 2. I basically brought my friends to a pub and I was like, you have to come.
You manifested it.
Yeah, wingman.
Yeah.
I had pink hair. I was like going through stuff. I was like hectic vibes.
Yeah.
And I was.
I like him needy and distraught.
Yeah. With
that's what the doc's gonna say.
Exactly.
Andrew preyed on the needy and the vulnerable.
Black and white pictures of me looking awful.
Yeah.
No, it's a serious problem.
No, but I brought them. I bought them tickets. I was like, come. They obviously had a great time, but then in the second half, we obviously had to go back in, and then all the seating had changed. So I got sat next to these 2 other girls, and I was drunk as a skunk, and I started talking to them about how I really fancied Andrew quite openly.
Did they fancy Andrew?
I don't think they actually did, which is why they
were
decided.
They there then? Why would they bother coming?
I mean,
don't.
I didn't leave.
Why would they
room for
say
them.
that? Why would they
Andrew's
say
furious.
that? You don't have to bring it up like that. Jesus.
Andrew was waiting, going, "Do you think I'm handsome?"
Yeah, that's what I
And
did.
if they didn't, he'd go,
Well, why are you here? Just went round all of them. Do you fancy me?
No, I think I left.
That's
very
what I eventually
little room.
landed on. And now
Yeah.
we're here 10 months later.
Yeah.
It's trial and error. It's called trial and error.
Yeah, well, I didn't leave them much room. I made it very clear. I was like, you're not allowed to right now. This is my moment.
This is your...
character. Yeah.
And it was very... it was very filmic of you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's quite...
And
it
takes a lot of self-confidence.
It's not really your personality.
It's so not my personality.
It's very...
It was my... I have a running joke with my friend Slim. Like, I was always... he always used to tell me to go with my gut, and my whole
Slim
thing
Shady.
was... Slim Shady.
Yes, Marshall Mathers to the rest of us. Or some know him
Sorry,
as Eminem.
when you call him Slim, we're not as close friends with him.
That's the music biz.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but he always told me to go with my gut, and I was like, I don't have a gut. Like, that was our whole thing, is I've never had a gut instinct or whatever, and then I had one.
Yeah.
So it was very off-brand, because I was just... Also, I'm not very, confident in that area.
Yeah, it was very... it was almost obnoxiously Richard Curtis of you.
It was.
Yeah,
I think I think by mistake I have one of those narratives going through my whole life.
Yeah.
Because all my friends have always told me my life is like a film.
Oh,
Because
really?
I think I manifest it or
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah.
You into crystals and shit?
No, I'm not Crystal Gal.
Not crystal gal.
No, not for me. I
Big
want
crystal
to be.
gal. Sorry.
You want to be?
I would like to be. I think it's quite...
It doesn't suit you.
It doesn't suit me at all, no.
It might appear that it would suit you, but it actually doesn't.
No, and I have like a bag of crystals that like one of my listeners gave me, and I had to like pretend to know what they were talking about. I was like,
quartz.
oh, yeah. I was like, is there a rose quartz?
Quartz.
And they were like, yeah. I was like,
yeah.
that's my guy. It's just the only one I know.
Do you know? I don't know anything.
I know about quartz.
Right.
Well, it's just this pink, isn't it? That's it.
Didn't
That's
know
all
that.
I know
That's
about
as far
it.
as I go. Quartz.
Right.
You into astrology?
No. No, really
Not
not.
at all?
Really not. I mean, it's not that I avoid it. I just don't.
Not for you. Yeah, I mean, I was quite... I think BB hasn't let on how into astrology she is. I was literally this weekend...
How many years have you been together?
3, coming up to 4, 3,
It's a
3,
long
4
time
years.
to hide it.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't hide... Well, she actively lied. It was more...
Right.
It was more just... I don't think it wasn't
Not
snooping
lied.
from me. It
Deception.
was more... it was deception.
Right.
Because she would just say, oh, it's a bit of fun. But then I went to her best friend's birthday where it was only girls. I was the only boyfriend there. And they all started talking about astrology, and I was ready to, this is a whole world that I haven't been.
And was BB like leading it?
Oh, she's fully there.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I thought
And
you
then
were
I just think they
mortified.
really, really hardcore.
Yeah.
And then it was really, like, obviously you don't want to be the guy at a girl's night.
Taking the
just
piss
like,
out of.
it makes no, what's the science?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
But also
It's
it was
not a
like,
good look.
it's completely unhinged.
I don't think you want to be on the other side though, either. Though, like
What's the other side?
knowing
Astrology.
too much about
Yes.
it. I think that would be a bit icky.
Yeah. And then what I didn't realise is that you have your big one. So what are you?
I'm a Virgo.
And what are you?
Libra.
Libra.
What are you?
Makes sense. The funniest thing, all it makes sense is just every time, no matter what someone says.
So easy, yeah.
Well, that's,
oh my god, makes
yeah,
sense.
that
that's basically the whole methodology of astrology.
What are you?
Makes
Makes sense.
sense.
I have it locked and loaded. Makes sense.
follow-ups.
Makes sense.
And they appear like they know something,
Yeah.
and we're off.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And then part of
Why?
you's like, oh, I guess that kind of does make sense. Actually.
Yeah.
But that you've got like, you have loads. It's not. That's when it got even more. So like they put my birth time and date into the chart, and I have like 8.
And
I'm not even like
moon sign.
Yeah, you have your moon, your rising,
there's 12 of
something or
them.
other.
There's like loads of
Earth,
shit.
water.
Yeah.
Well, there's 12 signs in general, isn't there?
It wasn't maybe not specifically 12, but I was like, and you can triple up on things. So I've got like a triple Virgo on some shit.
You're a triple Virgo.
Yeah, so like there was just a list of 10. I'm only
Yeah.
an Aries in my sun.
Wow, you know a lot. Though.
Well, I know because I went through
you
the.
just had one night with
I had
Yeah.
one night, but that's almost what realised. Like shit, there's even more to it
Yeah.
than I thought.
Yeah, there is. So I couldn't find out. My friend tried to get me to find out all that stuff, but my mum has no recollection of what day or time I was born.
Day?
Yeah, no, she doesn't.
So you don't know your birthday?
No, she doesn't know the day of the week. I think she has to
Oh,
ask
day.
me.
Well,
what
you can
my
look that up
birthday is.
online.
What?
Your
My-
birthday?
My birth time.
Well, what day it was.
Oh yeah, I could.
can't look
I
up your
didn't know that.
birth
I was
time
gonna say,
online.
that's available.
Wait,
Yeah.
sorry, I missed that. Do you not know your birthday?
No, it's
No.
been this constant confusion.
thought you
It's a
said-
nightmare for
My
me.
birthday-
I
That's my
thought you
favourite day
said
of the year.
you can look that up online. What's my birthday?
No, because she knows the date, but she doesn't know the day. I'm like, you can find
I
that.
can find out the day of
Oh,
the week,
yeah,
and that's
yeah.
true.
That's true.
Yeah, but I can't find out the
definitely can look that
time.
up.
My
Could
mum's
your
out
dad?
for the
Could your
count.
dad not tell you the time?
My dad makes
David
up
Lammy,
a new
he's
time.
busy.
David
David
Lammy, he's got politics to do.
He's in the house.
You have no idea who David Lammy is, do
No.
you?
Do
you not?
I've
No.
got that.
Oh, that's brilliant.
He's a black MP.
Right.
Yeah.
I only say black because you're very white.
And it is
Absolutely.
funnier. It does
Alright.
make it funnier.
It does make it funny,
Yeah,
yeah.
undeniably.
Because it's almost impossible that he would be your father.
I understand. Very
Yeah.
good.
Miracles do happen, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
do.
that's true.
You spend a lot of time here, which I always ask Andrew about because you must live in a nicer place than this.
Well, it's smaller though.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It's-
But she lives by herself, so
yeah.
it's not smaller in comparison. If you times it by 4, it would be bigger
Yeah.
comparatively.
Do you think? I mean, it's what I live in a studio.
Yeah, but then you have a weird like for this place, don't you?
I just
got
like.
charm.
I like. Yeah, I like old houses.
No.
No.
This is not.
I fully,
When you
and I
say
know you're
old
about to say- you're
houses,
about to say
no.
shit and it's falling apart. I like houses that are falling apart. Like my last flat, the whole building was basically falling down.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was on the piss. So my bed, I would start sleeping on one side and wake up on the other side of my bed because I'd have rolled down in the night.
Really?
The whole floor was on the piss.
Are you sleeping on a
stay
ship?
on that for a second.
Yeah.
You used to roll down your bed because the house was on the piss.
Yeah. The whole house was falling down, which is why we got reasonable rent for it.
Wait, so hold on.
Was this in London?
Yeah,
And it
Bethnal
was
Green.
just all...
So you'd start on the left side of the bed and maybe end up on the right. Would you ever fall off the bed?
No, I never fell off the bed.
Right, so it couldn't have been that on the piss.
No, it wasn't that on the piss, but
Right.
it definitely. I mean, everyone else hated the house, and I was a big fan of it.
Well, because they were constantly falling over.
Everyone was falling down, yeah. But no, everything
Open
was
the
broken. Yeah. But then we had rats. We had a squirrel that found its way into our house and would eat the avocados in the fruit bowl. We'd find them by the hole by the door.
Adam found a squirrel in our bin the other day.
Really?
Outdoors, though.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole different level of trauma when it's inside.
I'm having an extraordinary standoff with the foxes. Because I guess with like...
We have very different opinions on foxes.
No, but so... Because I've been dealing with the fox... Everyone has...
What do you mean you've been dealing with them?
In the house, you always end up doing a specific task that for some reason just falls on
Right, so
you.
instead of washing the dishes, you deal with the foxes.
I
Is
wash
that
the dishes,
your
fine.
designated thing?
The foxes...
Don't mop the floors, you just stare at foxes.
Yeah, I don't mop the floors, that's fair. Because the council didn't pick up our bin bags for weeks. It was getting ridiculous.
Right.
I came back. I went out for 3 hours for a gig. I came back. The foxes had it was insane.
Right.
Just all over,
so
completely. And I literally must have missed them by
when
like
you
10
say
minutes.
dealing with the foxes, you mean picking up the rubbish?
Yeah, so I'm not physically.
I was
fighting.
imagining you in a stand-up with the
No.
foxes.
Well, it's become that because it's become a mental battle. And then I had to rebag all of them. It was.
And did they do the same thing again?
And then I packed it off. They redid it twice.
Right,
and then,
maybe you're not dealing with it.
No,
right?
and then I rebagged it, and so they've done it 3 times overall, and I've had to rebag it each time. So it's a real.
Yeah.
It's the first time
I've
the first time I've really been in like a standoff with an animal. With an animal. You know, the mind games are starting.
Yeah.
I've dealt with the foxes. I've had to re-bin it.
Oh really?
Yeah, because it's.
You love foxes.
Well, I do. I fed them cheese once.
Yes, I remember that. That was when it was very wholesome. But it's more the council's fault. It's not the foxes.
Yeah, the foxes aren't the problem.
Yeah.
It's the lack of bins being taken that's the problem.
Yeah.
But I'm like, attract him. Bring him here.
I'm terrified
I love
of foxes. And when we're on our way back from a night out, we will come across a fox on our way back. And we stop the whole walk home because Andrew has to spend 10 minutes summoning them. And he's just like looking, he's like, don't trust me. They
get pretty close.
They don't get that close.
They get pretty
darling.
close.
You're fairly drunk.
They get pretty close. I fed one cheese from my hand.
I wasn't there. So.
I know you weren't there, but I told you about it.
Yeah, well.
He's looking at like a post box, and he's just.
Just an interestingly shaped bush.
Yeah.
So with foxes, the sex noises, do you know what is that the sex noise then when they're screaming?
Do you know
Is that
why?
always sex?
Yeah, but do you know why that they scream? Because the
It's all rape, isn't it?
Is it?
No, it's not only that. It's the foxes' penises have spikes on them,
Is that why?
so it's literally hurting them. Yeah,
That seems like a misstep.
I feel like
No.
I feel like I don't know what you gain from a spiked.
It doesn't seem like it
penis.
will have
No.
a survival thing.
yeah. I don't know why. I mean, I haven't looked into it. I just heard
Yeah.
about that. At the same time as I found out that ducks have corkscrew penises.
Yeah, no, I know about the duck ones.
It's
are
now
mental.
a lot less believable that you haven't looked into it.
I understand.
It's not like ducks. Well, don't give some
Yeah,
badgers.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they have spikes on. That's why they scream.
Why do they?
Which
That's,
makes
I
it
w- actually
more
didn't, which I didn't know
horrible to
that.
me.
Yeah, way worse.
It's way
Because part of me was
worse.
like, oh, it's quite funny that there's this woman's moaning in pleasure, but it sounds like she's screaming. But no, she's actually screaming.
No,
it's not funny
yeah,
at all.
Yeah, she's in agony.
Really takes a lot of the
Poor
fun out of
thing.
it.
Yeah,
Why would they have spiked knobs?
I've no idea.
Spiky penises. But yes, you've got a new album coming out, right?
I do.
This is why you're on here.
Is that
Wrote-
why I'm on
Wrote
it?
the album. What's the album called?
The album was called Drunk on a Flight.
Oh yes, yeah.
What's the sequel? Pissed on a train.
Because genuinely, drunk
tired
on
of
a
that.
flight, I genuinely thought it was to do. When I first saw it, I thought it was to do with your LA flight.
Weird. What's his
The
name?
drunk LA flight.
Floyd.
Who ruined my day and kind of ruined yours. in a
Yeah,
way.
there's a darker side to the
Because
Floyd
obviously he
story.
showed up so hungover and jet lagged
Yeah.
and exhausted when I was like, "Hello, darling."
Yeah.
After
Very
months.
rare he doesn't. This happens a lot, but yeah.
It was a long flight, I understand, but Floyd really.
Yeah. Yeah, I look back at Floyd with not so
Rose tinted glasses.
rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah.
It was actually a bad thing, not a good thing.
Yeah.
It's also just weird because you had the Wi-Fi on the plane. So I was getting these kind of dribs and drabs.
She got to track the
like
journey.
Little updates.
Oh, you had wife on the plane.
The joy of Floyd, and then the kind of realizing this might be taking a weird turn.
Yeah, and I knew live time. I knew when it was taking a turn, but I saw. He sent me a picture of those two with an AirPod in each.
Oh yeah, that was when it was friendly.
What was it? What were you watching?
Apocalypse Now. Yeah. So I watched
and then,
half of Apocalypse Now.
The next time we had like a conversation, Andrew was like, "I've got to go. We're about to sing an air hostess happy birthday on the tabloid."
And that's when it went wrong. I think it was after that.
Yeah, that's when I started to question his mental state and whether I should be associated with him on the plane or whether he was going to be forcibly ejected.
So the album's not about that.
Not while
the
the plane was
album's not about that.
There's not a song called Floyd.
What was it's the name of the album?
Yeah.
I mean, she's a brilliant musician if she can get an album out of that.
Yes. And that
One
quickly
story.
turned over. Yeah. No, it's definitely not about that. I've just been drunk on several flights. All the big things in my life have seemed to like line up with flying away.
Yeah.
My first big breakup was like the day that I flew away to my first tour to LA, and then I got really pissed on that flight. And
What was
then
your
wrote
drink of
loads
choice?
lyrics. Vodka tonic.
Oh, on the flight. Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we just started.
Very creative being on a flight though.
It is. Well,
I
you're
find.
so emotional.
Long flights.
You're emotional.
EasyJet, I'm not coming up with great ideas. I'm not.
It's
not odd.
Yeah.
You know, it's only when the lights go down and most of the people are asleep where you kind of feel like you're in an early noughties film for some reason. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
There was a period in film where I think it was just seen as so classy to be on a flight or something.
Yeah.
It was just all on, like Hugh Grant films, they're all on flights for some reason.
And also, I still feel the sensation of feeling quite grown up if I fly anywhere by myself on
definitely.
a long
I agree.
flight.
I agree.
And that's something I don't think that will go. When the lights go down, you're like ordering your drinks and you've got your little film and all you've packed your hand luggage divinely. It's great.
Flying is similar to Giraffes.
Go on.
Because it's a well-known thing of the podcast that I don't believe giraffes should be depicted in children's books.
Yeah.
Have you heard this?
Yeah.
The overexposure
I've heard
to
it in
giraffe
real
theories.
life. Yeah.
Can they be depicted abstractly?
No.
So like the feeling of a giraffe is sort of like in a sort of Picasso-esque.
Yes.
That's all right.
Yeah,
because
Picasso-esque
It's vague.
If it's a vague idea,
because then it's like telling you
the creature.
You don't know the colours.
It's the photorealism.
And it's good that we're probably going to get some of Elle's fans on this so I can kind of spread the word on this.
Yeah,
but I don't think that giraffes, rhinoceri...
Very good.
Giraffes, rhinoceri, I think lions are okay. Hippopotamus, definitely not.
Lions are okay.
Yeah, lions are fine because I think they're too prevalent with it, and they're not like they're just a big cat with a big mane.
But then a hippo.
What's a hippo a big example of?
I don't know if that's how I describe majesty.
You don't think a hippo's majestic?
No, I think it's less majestic than a lion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but lions aren't. It's about how they look. It's
But
about
they're so dangerous. I would
danger
only
is
agree.
irrelevant.
Danger is, if
Really?
anything, it adds to the majesty.
No, but see,
definitely.
An ostrich would come.
you...
An ostrich would come into this list as
But
well.
then this
Flamingos.
isn't majesty's the wrong word, isn't it?
It's more weird.
The sublime? No, it's not the sublime.
It's actually more just like mental looking at it.
It's weirdness.
I try and jazz it up.
Fucking hell, what the fuck is that?
So
That's what you want, yeah.
Now, all of those creatures I listed, we'd see them in children's books all the time, wouldn't we? Now, I don't...
What the fuck?
I don't want them in children's books because when you then, if you're fortunate enough to go and see them in real life, if you go on a safari or something, I did that and I saw a giraffe
and you're like, whatever.
I wasn't as... I wasn't as startled as I should be. If I wasn't...
You're looking down the nose scope like, I feel nothing.
It wasn't that kind of trip. But if I hadn't have been overexposed to them through children's books, my reaction to seeing a fucking giraffe would have been life-changing. It would have been everything. And the first time I saw a giraffe was drawn or animated.
Yeah.
I think I settled on that we should be able to write about them in words and prose, but you can't draw them. No one should be allowed to draw a giraffe.
Like the Jabberwocky.
Yeah.
I feel like that's absolutely mental because also
Why?
if your whole thing is like because then if you have the privilege to go and see them, what if you just never get round to going to see a giraffe?
Nelly the
I've
elephant
never
shouldn't
seen
exist.
You're not answering a question. I love you're thinking about something else and completely ignoring her. Still listing things.
Elephants.
Yeah, it's because we've had this discussion before.
Flamingos. Yeah, what are you saying? Yeah.
I know a few boys, weirdly, who have like a similar thing that they're like.
No, you don't.
No,
you don't.
You know, my friend Isaac is basically.
She lives in the Richard Curtis film.
He's just had.
Every guy she meets has this zany take on giraffe.
Yeah. Well, he's just had a baby, and like on the run up to his baby.
So you're not showing him giraffes?
No, so he was like...
What? So like parents are like trying to stop gender boundaries. You're going to raise your kid with no exposure to giraffes. It's like all the parents are like, yeah, I'm not showing him giraffes. It's just a thing we're doing.
And then take them on a safari, watch them lose their fucking heads.
Yeah.
Can't wait for it.
But they've developed a lot of personality disorders because they've had to be kept away from most of society.
No stories as a child.
Yeah. Well, he's got it because he basically he was like, I don't want to buy any clothes for the baby with animals on them, because he had a whole thing where like he thinks it's weird. I'm gonna mess his whole thing up, but he thinks it's weird that like dangerous animals are portrayed in like a sweet, cuddly way, because like people should be aware that they're like very. Yeah, like
where's Isaac
lions
from?
And bears and whatever.
But how often is his kid going to encounter a lion or a bear?
He's from Portsmouth.
In Portsmouth.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I kind
That's a
of
mental
understood,
take.
That's a bad take.
That's a mental take.
Yeah, but I wasn't there. I was told this by his girlfriend, but I thought it was a slightly mental take. I'm pretty sure now they've given that whole thing up, and there's penguins on everything.
So he doesn't want to.
But it's more of a health and safety concern.
But he was just like, you don't want, because in my head I was a bit like, what? Do you think they're going to come face to face with a bear and think I'm going to go and cuddle it? I don't think that's what the baby's going to think.
I don't think that's ever happened.
No.
Or maybe.
Nor will he
there's
come
a
face
bit
to face with a bear in Portsmouth.
Yeah, well, no, I know, but they're not raising the baby in Port. Well, they're also not raising.
Where are they raising the baby?
In the forest in Canada.
Where are they raising the baby?
In Sussex.
In Sussex. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Deep in the forest in Canada, though.
No, I'd like.
They've gone to Alaska.
I'd like to distance myself from Isaac's take there.
Yeah.
Mine's a lot more.
Well, yours is just like, that's fucking weird.
Yeah.
And then his is like, that's terrifying. They're terrified of it. It's about fear.
It is different, and I think part of the terror is in the majesty of them. And that's
I still think I'd be amazed if I saw a.
You would, but not as much.
You
would, but not as much. When I saw a giraffe, I went, "Wow!"
But what
What the fuck? What is that? That's what I want.
Yeah.
And bit of fear. Like, imagine seeing a giraffe come around the corner.
Yeah.
You can't imagine how.
It's true.
They're so weird looking.
Yeah.
Their necks are so long.
Yeah.
They're really long, but I knew that going into it.
And it's like, so the reason their necks are long is so they can eat the stuff on the trees.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure. Yeah.
And it's like, still doesn't quite click for me. You can't.
Well, they've been around longer than you.
I know, but it's just like the idea of. Does that mean there's just been like
this the whole time
for millions of years, and then eventually,
Eventually they got there. Well, they also like hit other.
They whack each
Yeah.
other.
You know, they that's. But they only seem to fight each other.
It's horrid.
They're very fun-loving creatures.
Yeah.
Well, you see lions kill giraffes.
Yeah, it's not nice.
No.
It's none of it's nice, but I don't like when they whack each other's necks. I feel windy.
I quite like it.
Do you? Actively?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm into
But
it.
you're not actually, to get into Elle a bit more, let's really dive into it, hey?
Good.
So you're not really one for the safari, or you're not really a desert or an African plains girl. Elle is woodland folk.
You're woodland folk.
Woodland
You're for
folk.
the
This is a
forest.
name I've
well,
been
for the
given.
forest is a term I'm trying to get off the ground.
Yeah, woodland folk is.
There's some people you're like,
weirdly,
they're
I've been
for the
trying
forest.
to get woodland folk off the ground, so maybe we can kind of come together. But Elle grew up in rural France.
Yeah.
And her entire family acts like they live in the woods.
Even though they don't live in the woods.
Well, they have lived amongst the woods-ish.
Yeah.
So what? Explain to me.
But now they live in London.
Tell me what aspects of someone who pretends they live in the woods would wear or do.
This and that.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I don't. What I.
You know you're.
You wouldn't wear white trousers
I know
in the
I'm woodland
forest.
folk, but I wouldn't be wearing. If
Yeah,
I
I know,
was in
but
France,
but you are woodland folk.
Yeah, I know I'm woodland folk. You've made that clear, and I see it. You're right.
What do you think the main tenets of woodland folk are?
What? You're the one who should be answering
Yeah,
this,
you
seeing
do
as you're
that
the one who
because you've
proposed
observed
this.
me. I didn't even realise.
This is your hypothesis.
There's a lot of prancing.
Sure.
They seem to prance around like they kind of walk as if they're dodging between trees.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of the time.
Like a deer.
That scans.
Like a deer.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
It's a quaint way to approach general living.
Yeah, I mean the quaintness is
There's a lot of good at fires. Very good at fires.
Yeah.
I've met her dad twice, and both times he roasts a chicken on an open fire.
Yeah.
But in a non-autistic way, in a sort of Wes Anderson way.
In a man of the
in a man of the woods way.
Yeah.
Does he like
hunched over?
Does your dad like the Justin Timberlake album?
David Lammy.
Does he like the Justin Timberlake album Man of the Woods? You know his album?
I do know that because I actually do like that album by mistake.
Horatio, that's all he spoke about.
Because
it was incredibly
I need
awkward.
to find that album cover because that was a bold move by Justin. I kind of rate it because people hated him after that.
He's wearing like Timberland boots in one half of the picture, right? Like he's in Alaska or something.
Thank you.
There.
And then he did like on Jimmy Kimmel, he did one, and he's wearing woodland gear, and he's got like all these trees. It's like you're really committing to.
Because
it's just
folk
a vibe.
it's not a theme that's really been dived into.
No,
maybe
but
that's one for the next
that's
album.
my niche.
But it wasn't like he had a story attached to it. It wasn't like something had happened to him. It was purely, I like the vibe of the woods.
Yeah, he didn't even make the album in the woods. Nothing.
Just genuinely, it was just more like it's a bit vibey to be in a
Trees
woods.
and leaves, and,
It was so surface level.
I think a childhood story of yours that your mum told me actually sums up why. I think it sums up the essence of Woodland Folk, but also your deep psychological issues at the same time.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Is Elle used to
Insidious
have this?
disorders.
Elle used to have this kind of fantasy that she wanted to be a Victorian orphan.
Oh wow, yeah, that is
So
Woodland Folk.
I think she used to watch. She was a big fan of Oliver Twist when she was young.
Oh, really? Wait, the film?
Yeah. So she used to spend hours out in the woods, and she'd put on like Victorian garb, but she didn't just want to be a Victorian child. She wanted to be a Victorian orphan.
Yeah.
So she'd smear her face with coal and mud, wearing rags, and she'd make a little. So it was kind of she did a kind of mix between.
If you're going to talk
I'm
about the oven,
and then we're doing the oven. So it wasn't just so the kind of she did a mesh between Woodland Folk and Victorian folk, because she'd go out into the forest and make almost like a little hut, and to kind of simulate the experience even better, she'd get a big pot of water and put a candle under it and wait for it to boil, so that she could drink just hot boiling water.
It's all there. I waited.
The problem is that I had a very similar thing because I was when I moved from London to Sussex when I was 12, I had a big, because I'd never really seen the countryside.
So that's how you thought everyone acted.
I went hard countryside as soon as I left London. I had a real big survival phase. So I got really into making fires, into making.
Like a Ramirez moment.
It was more Bear Grylls, actually.
Ramirez is the lame of Bear Grylls.
No, I disagree.
But now Ramirez is cooler, I think, because Ramirez knows what he is. Bear Grylls is pretending to be.
He's not drinking piss to survive. He's like learning how to make a nice fire to make a roast dinner.
Yeah,
that ain't survival, honey.
That is thriving.
Drinking your piss is Bear Grylls goes in the wilderness. He really fucking does it. Ramirez is like in Surrey.
Yeah, it's true. But
Yeah.
Ramirez, and it only came out 10 years later, and this gave me a lot more respect for Ramirez, and it's one of the funniest facts. Ramirez helped track the killer Raoul Moat. Do you remember Raoul Moat? Do you remember Raoul Moat?
No.
Raoul Moat, no.
So Raoul Moat. You might track a murderer. Yeah, so Raoul Moat, which is also up there with Roald Dahl as not a name.
Did he drown them all?
This is what Raoul Moat looks like.
He looks like a moat.
His face too big for his features.
Raoul Moat. He like killed his wife and a couple other people, and then he disappeared. No one could find him.
And there was only one person to call.
Genuinely. And I'm waiting but there's been a book written by this author in second person. You know, there's first person and third person. Nothing ever gets written in second.
In second.
So it's a second, and it's called You Are Raoul Moat. This is the book's called You Are Raoul Moat.
Sounds like essential reading.
Yeah. You Are Raoul Moat, and it's just all about the story.
Could you give me an example of a sentence?
I haven't read it. My friend Sam read it. I mean, as I said, it's like you're going to read the first 5 pages, then you're going to tell everyone about it. It's not a book to be read. It's a book to say,
I don't know.
I've read this book. I've got this book.
Yeah.
It's for this. This is the reason it's written, so you can talk about it.
Is it about Raoul Moat or about the tracking?
I think it's about... No, I think it's about being Raoul Moat. But it says, you are Raoul Moat, you get out of bed, you do that,
Because in the second person, almost every sentence has to start with the word you.
It has to, right?
Which sounds more like a toilet book.
Manual.
A toilet book? Talk me about, what's a toilet book?
Let's go into toilet books. You know what a toilet book is? Bathroom books. Ones you put near the bog.
So what would a sentence?
I hate the word bog. I don't know why I said it then. Yeah.
A sentence from and bog roll is awful as well.
Yeah. My dad used to talk about the lav. That upsets me.
Lav's alright.
No.
Lavy.
So you've got a toilet book written in second person. How would a sentence be?
It would mostly be like a
you are having a shit.
No, toilet books aren't about the act of going to the toilet.
There's something deeply perverse about.
Is that what you want to read when you're in the toilet? Just a description of what you're doing. You are having a poo. You are flushing the toilet. You are washing your hands.
I'm an alternative learner.
Yeah, no, you know what a toilet book is. I'm not actually...
No, don't keep saying that. No, I don't.
Toilet book.
What is it?
Books next to the toilet.
Yeah.
For leisurely reading.
I know, okay, fine. I know that.
For guests and family whilst you're using the facilities.
I've never read a toilet book which is in second person.
Well, then you're in the wrong toilet.
Tell me one toilet book you've read.
I didn't say. I said
you said it sounds like a toilet book.
Because it's a bit... Toilet books are whimsical.
I think I just missed... I think the tone was... I slightly misread the tone.
Yeah, no, it was my fault.
Yeah.
No, you're right. It was my fault.
Yeah.
No, toilet books are
for the toilet.
Whimsical
Yeah.
Toilet books.
It's for the toilet.
They are called toilet books. You don't keep them in the toilet, but the toilet is... Well, that's a problem with the British.
I mean, actually, it would be a great toilet book. If you sat down and you go, what's this?
Yeah.
You are Raoul Moat.
Didn't he murder his family?
I guess I am Raoul.
I guess I might be. But no, it sounds like because they're whimsical and it's like a blah, blah, blah. But we were Ramirez Tracking.
Yeah, and so I was, for some reason, I'd been reading about Raoul Moat after hearing this, and it came out like 8 years later because it had to be like for secrecy, governmental legal.
Because they were still tracking him.
Yeah, well, I don't know what was some legal reason, but they got Ramirez on the case to literally track him using his knowledge of like Native American tracking methods.
Where was he?
He was at home.
But surely
and they just like, he won't be there. They should have checked that. No, he
surely Native American tracking methods aren't relevant in Milton Keynes.
Yeah, I don't know. He managed to escape for 5 days.
Oh, it was only 5 days.
Right, I thought it was way longer.
Yeah,
but
I thought he was hiding out.
He's got a gun, and it was ended with a shootout. But it's a film to be made with Ramirez being the star.
It's actually a great film to be
made. When you call, there's only one man for the job.
Our lists of films to be made are stacking up a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Rust, no updates, by the way.
Yeah, Rust or Bust.
Rust or Bust.
Rust or Bust? Have I heard about that one?
It's a film about...
It's a film about the making of Rust.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds riveting.
Will anything stop
the
making of Rust? Because it's from the perspective of Hilaria Baldwin as well.
This sounds.
It's all in Spanish as well.
Oh, okay.
The whole film.
Yeah, perfect.
We've got some things to iron out. We're still really in the debate.
We got the plot down though.
Yeah.
But Raoul Moat, would we call it Raoul Moat, a Ramirez story, or would it be Raoul?
Finding Raoul.
Yeah.
Finding Raoul, a Ramirez story.
That's perfect.
Raoul Moat is a great name.
Yeah.
I thought you were about to write that down.
Yeah, that's fucking brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant.
Is it Raoul, like Spanish?
It's spelled R-A... don't know.
Because Moat is one of the most English surnames in the world.
It's got so many vowels in it, yeah. R-A-O-U-L. He's got lots of vowels.
Raoul? Yeah, it's Spanish.
Over 6% of his words are vowels.
But would you like to comment on your Victorian child thing? Did you have another thing to say?
Well, no, it was a small pot of water, and that's the only thing I wanted to correct, because it was even more underwhelming. It was this tiny pot that still took the whole day to drink the water from.
Well, how long did it take to boil?
The whole day.
Where did you get the water?
It never actually boiled, I don't think.
I boiled mine because I had a big fire.
All right. I had a tea candle. Because I wasn't using
fucking candles.
I had a tea candle.
Oh my god! We just when we moved out to the country, it was like for 6 months because we couldn't find a house base. It was literally we moved at the worst time. It was during the recession, so we ended up staying at this friend's disused house that we're about to demolish, literally in the most countryside in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So I'd gone from London to literally the middle of nowhere. And so that's when I was getting into fires. And it was one night when I'd made a fire and I was poking it
story.
with like an old Christmas tree, which was very dumb, like a dry old Christmas tree.
But you were poking it with a Christmas tree.
It wasn't that dumb. But it was close. I can't quite remember what happened. But basically, or I left it near it. The whole thing set on fire. I pick it up and then I'm holding this like mini Christmas tree about this big, and it's dry brown leaves. Like this.
Yeah.
It goes up. And then I'm holding this torch and I'm like, I genuinely don't know what to do because I was scared that if I dropped it, it would set up all the trees. So I run outside. My mum's doing the washing up. I run outside the window where she's doing the washing up, just going, Mum! And she sees me holding a tree going, Mum! And she just sees me running around with and as this big gust of wind picks up, I threw it on the stone and stamped it out, but
a great
fucking terrifying. But yes, I think my fantasy was more the Revenant sort of thing. It was me starving in the woods. That
was
more
man against nature.
Though.
Yeah.
There's something about that.
we both had a thing about us being starving orphans.
Deprived. Yeah.
I don't know what that says about me.
Yeah.
The people
Do nothing.
I gravitate towards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love it was like, but I think also it was like so cold. I didn't make a hut. We had like this disused barn, with like all the windows out and whatever. It was freezing cold, so I like patched all the windows up. It was like pitch black in there. And there was something really nice about the survival. We'd make bow and arrows. We'd make bows and arrows. Yeah. And like swords and stuff. It was a real survival thing. I wasn't interested in playing like olden days.
It was like proper survival shit, hardcore.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what was the kind of Victorian garms and the smudging coal on your face about?
I wanted to look the part. I mean, I roped my sister in on the whole thing as well.
Well, like a wolf
reluctantly.
Girl. Like a girl that's been raised by wolves.
No, very different. It was like someone who'd come out of the orphanage that Oliver Twist was in. That was kind of what I was basing that whole bit on.
And made her way into the woods.
Yes, and so her dress had been torn by branches.
Right.
And wolves.
Yeah. And wolves.
And wolves. Let's
What
not
is
forget.
interesting, because you are... You know, my girlfriend's pretty quaint, but you are very quaint, and you're maybe the least quaint person I've ever met. You're so aggressively unquaint.
What are we calling quaint?
Don't really know, but you also know what I mean. You know.
But that's I don't know.
I mean, we just talked for 10 minutes about you pretend to be a Victorian
Yeah,
child.
but is that quaint?
Yeah, that's quite
that's
quaint.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What is quaint?
Well, it's like I don't know. It's a mix between quaint because I think there's a lot of something I like about both you and BB is that there's a lot of people trying to be quirky. That's like and then both of you are quite genuinely quirky,
organically,
or at least what people are attempting to achieve.
Yeah.
It's
like that's the truth.
Genuine. But you're not quirky at all.
No, you are quirky, but in like a very...
No, you've got quirks.
Yeah. Oh, that's
But when
it,
someone says you've got quirks, it means something very different to being quirky.
That's true.
Quirks are more like disorders.
Yeah, I suppose.
Quirky's like a way of just a consistent thing. Quirks are things you find out about someone that are worrying.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I suppose it is quite quirky. When I think about it, it's been so like normalized, but actually my whole childhood was super like unorthodox.
What in the rural France in a woodland cabin?
Yeah, completely.
What do you mean by quaint? What does this quaint thing mean?
Yeah, it was super bizarre. When I moved back to London, that was the first time I realized. I was like, oh, this is bizarre.
Yeah.
Because everyone was on phones and all that stuff and had internet, and I had not had any.
You hadn't had any internet?
No, we had like one of the big fat telly with the video player.
All right.
Let's not talk about it like that.
Jesus Christ, the plus size
telly. Yeah. And like all the videos of like the railway children and stuff. We didn't have,
my God, of course the railway children.
I can't watch that film.
You read a lot of Enid Blyton novels. Were you reading a lot of those?
No, I wasn't reading a hell of a lot.
You were fucking setting
She doesn't really read now.
I can't read now. No. I'm actually really shit at reading in English.
I'm terrible at reading as well. You got any LDs?
LDs?
Learning difficulties.
Not that I'm aware of.
What are you cooking?
I don't think I've got anything.
Let's check under the bonnet. What's wrong with this? What's wrong with this, baby?
Let's crack it open.
We'll just do the stand-up.
No, but I learnt to read and write in French. So when I moved back when I was like 11, I basically learnt to read and write in English then. So I've developed my own disability within that.
It's her second reading and writing language.
Yeah. Yes.
Did you learn English? Did you ever do any did you get experience of how the French learn English?
Yeah.
So what would like? Because here it's like cloud, Ola, bibliothèque.
It's very good representation.
In the piscine,
yeah.
you know, and it's like,
it's all,
yeah, it's all about Cloud and his best friend
and holidays.
And holidays.
Same.
What is it? Frank.
It
Frank
would
went
be
to the pub.
it would be like John. It would be a lot of John.
Yeah.
Right.
Which they can't really like say that well. But the problem was they were like, I was the only one who knew English and they were teaching so many words wrong. So I had to constantly battle between being like the dickhead who was a bit like, that's not, if you're going to send these kids off to England,
It's like,
which they were going to.
you got coal on your face, love. I don't give a fuck.
Newsflash, that water ain't going to boil.
Yeah.
It's under one candle.
Yeah. No, I just played along. I was honestly the weirdo there as well. There was no chance I was ever going to fit in. It's like a rural French Catholic school, and I was showing up in like
nuns and
Dorothy. No, because that was when I decided to go for my showbiz outfits. Was when I went to school.
Okay.
So I had like the ruby
Who are your
slippers.
showbiz icons?
Judy Garland.
Yeah,
She was my big one. I wore the ruby red slippers to school all the time, which were high heels, and I got told off all the time for that.
So like Wizard of Oz, sort of.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. And I went as like Esmeralda from Hunchback of Notre Dame. Had like the jingly jangly skirt.
Yeah,
I went like in full.
character.
Yeah, I went full dress up to
Yeah.
school. So I was English. They were just like, we don't know what her vibe is.
So, but once again, when you struggle with the word quaint.
It's there.
I'm still struggling because I think of quaint. I'm like a quaint little house. I'm not like a house.
You're not a house. I don't
That
think
is
Horatio
actually-
was charging you with being a house.
That is a good point.
Do
I
you know what
take
I
back
mean?
the quaint comment because you aren't.
Maybe I do too.
You're not.
Were you picturing her as a house?
I was.
I was
the
picturing her as a house.
in my head, I was like, "You're a house."
Yeah, you're just a house.
But you're not a house.
I
Now,
look at you and I just see roof.
yeah, that
wall.
was stupid of me because you're not a house.
I'm glad I brought that up.
So Esmeralda, do you like Anastasia?
That was literally my favourite. That's
Really?
still my favourite.
I love
can't
it,
believe
but
you've
why is
seen
it not
that.
in the canon? Why is it not in the canon?
Okay.
Why is Anastasia not in the canon? Have you noticed this? Because
But-
it was one of the most
I
exciting,
think
best
it's-
ones. I felt like it was a rare find for some reason because it doesn't get
Because
talked
it's not
about.
Disney. I think it's literally to do. I think it's too political
Political.
for
Do you
Disney.
think it is?
Because it was so.
Was it not Disney?
It wasn't Disney. I
Who
think
made
it's
it?
like. I think it's either Fox or Universal. I
Because it
think
definitely
it's Fox.
had fucking teeth
Because
to it.
I couldn't believe that no one had heard of it.
Yeah,
Because it's got some of the best songs in it.
yeah.
But it's definitely because it's political. Because
Yeah.
what other Disney film do you know, other than like recent ones which like vaguely touch on political stuff?
Do they? Because I can't really remember the film title. I just remember it being thrilling. Do they touch on the murder of all her family?
That's just kind of
The background.
that's set up. Yeah.
Because the story was that
Rasputin.
Lenin. Oh yeah, well Lenin after the revolution killed basically all of the royal family.
Yeah.
And then they made up a
Literally
lie.
leave for 30
I
seconds.
know it was a
And
bad
it's
time.
back on
That's
Lenin.
Lenin showing.
Lenin literally killed everyone.
So I think what actually happened with the Anastasia folk story was that Lenin, after they won the Russian Revolution, kind of ordered the death of all of the family, like 14 of them were all killed in this basement. And obviously that's a bit of a hard sell. So they made up this myth that one princess got away as a way of like trying to...
Well, actually making a story out of it, rather
Yeah,
than
well, it's just more...
everyone's dead.
It's more like it's too bleak that they killed all the
there isn't
children.
much of a story
Well,
if
because they
everyone
keep the
died.
No, I'm not
Grandma.
saying that the writers of Anastasia did. I'm saying they based that off
right.
an urban myth that came around.
And they kept the grandma alive in the film as well, so they had two people to
I
join
see.
and make a new family
yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. Not start a new
Did you
family.
see Anastasia?
Only recently, you showed me
Yeah.
Anastasia.
I haven't seen it
You're
for
him.
ages. Was it good?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember it all.
No, you did like it, but it was one of those films we came back and watched when we were drunk in
Yeah.
sections,
Yeah.
Yes.
which I was not thrilled by because I love that film. That's
It's a
like
musical,
a
isn't
constant,
it?
yeah.
Mm.
That's a rewatch.
She's
You're a big musical theatre.
Yeah.
Her
big
and
musical
Mum just...
theatre.
Do you think you'd have a? Would you
Yappa,
enjoy
yappa,
going?
yappa.
Do you think you'd find a place in Burgess Hill Music Theatre Society? Would that
Because
be-
they're looking, they're actually
They-
genuinely
are
auditions are open. What's the show?
They follow me on Instagram.
They follow you?
They?
The BHMS.
They
Burgess
follow
Hill.
me.
The Burgess Hill Musical
Yes.
Theatre.
Okay, well, I didn't know.
BHMTS is it?
BHMTS, Burgess Hill Musical Theatre Society.
Yeah.
No, yeah, they're doing a show. I can tell you what Dad's playing, actually. So the audition process must have finished.
Yeah, is he? So he's still being pushed back to the comedy roles, right? He's not.
Yeah, he's past his
doing
prime.
like his drag thing, because I've
no,
seen
drag is only for panto.
Oh right, okay, sorry.
So yeah, thank you. They're doing The Wedding Singer. Never heard of that.
Oh,
the Adam Sandler
that's with Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore.
It can't. Is that being made into a musical?
Apparently,
Well,
they're making Bake Off into a musical.
Tickets are available now on the Birders Musical Theatre Society website.
So did you like Hamilton?
I loved Hamilton.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I'm tired of it now. But I all my mum's side are like in musical theatre and stuff, and I remember my mum's best friend Matty, who's the director of musicals and shows.
Yeah.
He sent me the link years ago to the first like small cast of Hamilton doing their presentation for Obama. Before it had been
Was it just him?
Yeah, it was.
Is that how every musical?
It was impossible.
Is that how every musical gets made?
Exactly, it has
to
go
go
through Obama. Yeah.
Just the Book of Mormon. Like,
and because like that, they all get
this will
executed.
happen.
Yeah. Well, no, because he's so.
Weird
he
they
had
chose
those
Obama
music.
to do that.
No, they had those those music nights that he like hosted and stuff. So loads of cool musicians came and played because he's such a music lover.
Yeah.
And they had these guys come and play before the whole thing had been written.
Okay.
So I remember like seeing these two songs and being so gassed.
Oh, they're
about
really
it.
good.
So sick.
Yeah.
And then when it came out, I was like, I went to see it like 3 times. I mean, me and my friend queued up to like get tickets. And when it came out on Disney, I watched it like, but like, we got queued up for the free tickets because we were students. But we watched it on like Disney and stuff. The day it came out, we had like a big screening for it. I was completely obsessed.
Yeah.
I've now moved away from it.
And so like, have you seen Hamilton?
I have now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think?
You didn't like it, did you?
I hate Hamilton.
I understand. Really. No, I do understand.
Why? Why do you think I didn't like it?
Because it's like trying to be like it's trying to make like a musical cool and be like,
but it's more like it's trying to make it's history. It's 1776.
Then make it 1776.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but and I get they're trying to like avoid the whole like
but then
jazz
also
hands thing. But
we don't like musical theatre, so our opinion is semi-invalid because it's not for us.
I like some.
You do. Yeah.
Do you have a future, maybe?
The night we met, we were singing in the streets of Islington a song from Company.
Well, you know all of these. Company's great. I've seen Company.
Great.
I don't like musical theatre, but I loved Company.
Like that because
but that's
just
the
great.
thing, because I don't, as a rule, like musical theatre. The thing is, I've seen some bad musical theatre.
I'm sure.
But Company is great. It's about there's some bangers in many musical theatre productions.
I made him watch West Side Story with me.
I love West
Side
Story.
The Spielberg
so upset.
film.
Yeah, he was so upset about watching it. And then every time a new song came on, I'd be like talking. He'd be like, "Shh, this is a really good one. This one." Throughout the entire
because you know all of them.
I know every number.
but like enthusiastically was singing along and like shushing me to.
West Side Story is always the good one. I've always liked West Side Story, The Full Monty, which you're not acquainted with.
Guys and Dolls?
I don't remember that one really.
Mm-hmm.
No.
But
West Side Story, it's got to have the bangers to back up the awkwardness of shifting from dialogue to song. That's always been my point.
I agree.
It's still never going to sit right with me when they shift from dialogue to song.
Yeah.
So then, the Hamilton doesn't do it because it's all music, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's no dialogue, which sits better with me because it's like you're watching that specific piece of art.
Yeah.
It's
just
clever,
the moment.
though. It's the thing is with Hamilton is like whether you like it or not, it's just clever to get like that. I didn't know anything about. I'm shit at history and all that. I didn't know
but maths is clever, but I don't watch it on a Sunday night.
What, maths?
You're not making maths.
I don't watch
maths.
Do you watch maths on a Sunday night?
No, I guess not.
There you go. Do you?
What is maths?
And that's the end of the conversation.
How could one
mean anything.
How could one watch maths?
You could get up a lecture on quantum mechanics.
I guess so.
Yeah. But where's the beat?
That's more
Look, I know it's not a good point.
It's a terrible
I'm not
point.
actually defending this point.
Yeah.
What's your favourite musical?
I don't know. I think it's Company.
Yeah.
I think it's Company. Anything.
Do you like the Book of Mormon?
I liked the Book of Mormon, but I felt like I was being hit over the head a little bit with the same joke, a million different versions of it.
I think that's unfair.
It's not unfair.
All right.
It's
settled.
Relationship over.
That's it. No, because if you think about it, it's 2.5 hours of like satire, and
Sign
but
me
like
up.
making the set. It's the same I don't know, they're taking the piss out the same thing the whole time.
It is fundamentally racist in the second half.
Yeah,
that's actually not really spoken enough about. It is very racist.
Over that.
I love the first half, and when they went to Africa,
but I really love the second half.
Yeah, but the second half is when you're like, that's comedy. Now we're making a point about what really happens. No, the second half is actually horrible.
Yeah.
It's so racist.
Yes.
It's of course it's somewhat making the same point. I can't really remember it, by the way.
I think you might have a future in musical theatre. I think in many ways you're sort of the prodigal son of Burgess Hill Musical Theatre Society, and I think what's going to happen is you're going to become a big shot in the podcast world, and then something awful is going to come out.
And I'll end up doing panto with Christopher Biggins.
I've met Christopher Biggins.
I know you have.
He told me that Prince Charles was gay within 20 seconds of speaking to him. How quickly it got there. Hello, how are you? Prince Charles was
I like
gay.
that kind of guy, though. No small talk, straight into the meat of it.
He remembers meeting him in a gay sex club in the 80s.
King Charles.
King Charles, sorry.
Apologies, to you and yours.
I think you'll have a big collapse because your sex cult. You'll have a documentary similar to Chris D'Elia about your sex cult.
Yes.
And then you're going to traipse back and find your roots, and you'll be returned, almost like Aragon, Return of the King.
So when you say I've got a career in musical theatre, you mean in Burgess Hill Operatic Society?
I just think you've turned your back so aggressively to musical theatre. You're like, I'm not like that. That's what my family's into. You know, that I don't really like musicals, but I think you're going to come on and you're going to be like, I've always loved musicals. It's about your denial of yourself.
You're like the Lion King when he comes back.
Yeah,
I am
exactly.
I am a triple
threat. Of the throne, and then you take the roles.
I'm a triple threat.
And then you take the roles that
that's true.
You take the roles that your dad used to take, and then he plays your, and then
he'll be backstage crying.
And finally, no, because on stage you'll do a duet together.
And I could be the son I always imagined he was singing about when he was doing it.
And you can be the son that he.
No, I do have
wanted.
I know it's one of my meanest fantasies, and there's a few.
Don't get me wrong.
There's a few. But I think it's my meanest fantasy where I'm like, I rock up for one of the auditions for the next Burgess Hill Musical Theatre Society production, and I rock up without telling any of my family. You know, Dad will be on the panel. And then they'll call the next guy in, and it's me. And I blow them away. I blow them away. They've got no choice but to give. They've got no choice but to give me
what's your number?
Give me the lead. It depends on the musical.
Sorry,
of course.
yeah.
But I think you know what? Being alive. It'll be being alive.
Being alive.
From what?
Company.
Okay.
I go in, not telling them, dazzle them. They've got no choice but to give me the part. I smash it. I'm like the best they've ever had.
Yeah.
And then I go, it's not for me afterwards.
Oh. Yeah.
Because it's a mean fantasy, but it's also I've gone through my entire life hearing about musicals every single day. There's when I lived at home with my family, there's very rarely a day when it's not brought up.
Yeah.
And I would go, I hate them.
Yeah.
I'd snort because I was constantly ill.
I know what the noise you were trying to make, but it didn't quite come out right.
You were meant to go. I tried to do a scoff. But instead I did a snort. that didn't come out right. That's the truth. That's exactly what just happened. Why are you making that noise, Andrew? I was the little pig boy in the corner.
That was the wrong noise.
Yeah, that's why my family didn't talk
What
to
noise?
me.
What's a scoff? Yeah, it's that. You just said you
I went... That's why my family didn't talk to me. Not because I didn't like musicals. Because I just kept going...
all the time.
But... So... Yeah, I think because of that and me not really liking it or not wanting to do it, that my fantasy is like, I can do this better than all of you.
I'm literally obsessed with fantasies. I think fantasies are some of them, because this is, you say it's a mean fantasy. I think even people, I don't think people realise, but people realise they have mean fantasies. Everyone has them all the time. It's just about, and I think you don't even realise you do. And I'm obsessed with this idea because it's some of the most embarrassing and funniest things you have is what you just think. And I remember I had a fantasy when the London Bridge terror attack happened.
You were the guy with the thing?
No, I
had that.
Well, it was more what would I do, and it's me. I'm on the other end of the London Bridge. It's all going down, and then I run the whole length of the London Bridge, and
away from the attack.
I'm gone. I'm just.
There's an incident.
That's my fantasy.
Get safe.
That's why, and like
I really alerted the family,
and I alerted some people. That's my fantasy.
By pushing them out the way.
Anything I want can happen, and that's what.
You just told some people.
There's an incident.
There was an incident.
Sorry, what was your
I run the whole length of London Bridge.
Yeah.
And then I 2-foot him in the chest. Genuinely, I jump like that. And so the.
But why wouldn't you want to be the guy with the narwhal tusk?
Because that's already happened. That's not.
Yeah,
that's someone else's.
Taken.
That's taken. That's not. It doesn't feel to me.
Filled.
I can't just be like that's. I want to do like that.
That
That's not fantasy. No. Oh, can I just have what he's had? Like that's not.
Fuck you. Yes, it is still fantasy. Fantasizing about being someone else.
And that's a bit lame. Just being like, oh, I really want to be them. And like, no,
I
want to 2-foot the cunt into the. I want to cunt him into the Thames.
What's more badass? Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to have any more badass response to a terror attack than a man wielding a narwhal tusk
He wins.
on London Bridge.
No,
he wins.
He wins.
He wins because it actually happened. If you saw...
Oh, so you don't win because it didn't. That's a very fair point.
No. Imagine what I said happened. You see a guy... So I'm just like walking up. Maybe I've got like a Pret sandwich. I see it. Throw the Pret sandwich down.
Right, and because you're giving up something for the cause.
Yeah. And
sacrifice.
Full pelt. It's like,
Quick.
who's this?
Yeah.
And this is all on, you know how like in American films when it's
handheld,
it's live from a helicopter when a disaster's happening. For some reason, no one's helping it, but someone's
you see
and who's this? Oh my God, who's this man?
You see masses of crowds running away with this one figure just dodging between them.
And then I kind of jump and I spend like almost an eternity in the air. It's like almost like
an
time,
anime.
like time slows down.
So we're bending genres. I like it.
It's like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon sort of
mixed with American news reports. Yeah.
And I managed to get my body perpendicular, so I'm almost lying down. So that's how my body.
But in the air.
I'm in the air. I'm in the air.
Yeah.
And then 2 feet perfectly on his chest. Poof, and it smacks him. And he goes spinning, and then he hits the side of the bridge, and then fucking spins like that off the Thames.
Does he die?
I didn't get any further than that.
It's such a boy. It's such a boy
No,
like superhero.
They fish
fantasy.
him out. They fish him out, I reckon. But that would be much bigger news if it's like, did you see him? The guy who cunted him into the Thames.
I'm not sure it would be.
It wouldn't take the prize.
It's a narwhal tusk.
Yeah.
That's nowhere. No, because if you saw someone 2-foot someone into the Thames.
If it was caught on the American News Network, then sure.
The flying part would take.
Yeah, that's
prize.
also
that
a big part.
It would be man defies gravity. The terrorist attack would become less significant.
Yeah.
Have you had any of those fantasies?
I don't. I think I actually have really horrible, very mundane but horrible, mean fantasies.
Hit us.
They're not really fantasies. They're like, I don't think they're fantasies at all. But I sometimes have. This is so exposing and mean. But if
fantasies are the most exposing thing.
But it's so mean, and yours was actually good because you were saving the day. I'm wishing something horrid.
I'm telling my family I'm going to musical theatre.
Yeah, that's not as horrid as it. I mean, it's not that bad. But if I see like the most beautiful woman in the world, like walk into the room, and she's talking to everyone, and she's also like charming and witty. She's got all the good things. I just like hope that she's got. Me and my sister both share this. I just hope that something dreadful is going on in her personal life.
Sure, yeah.
That's what I want. That I want something terrible,
you know, like a death of a family member.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm going down that route because I can't bear the fact that I've seen someone be this phenomenal.
Definitely.
I can't even enjoy it, even when they're talking to me and I'm like, they're wonderful. I hope something's gone hideously wrong by the time she gets back home.
I think your two are the most gendered fantasies.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying about yours. Yours is like a superhero.
Two-footing a terrorist into the
you're the Victorian orphan
and hoping an attractive girl dies.
Yeah, more or less.
Well, if you want, I
think mine is the perfect
her into the Thames if you want.
Yeah, great. We can book combine ours.
I think mine is the perfect definition of genderless.
Yeah, completely.
Really?
Yeah, well, it's pretty fucking gay if you ask me.
Yours is biased to your
genderless.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, it's super specific. Mine's, but I feel mean. I feel like a terrible, terrible feminist because I want to like back every girl who's.
But
like,
do you say is the main word hope? I hope this because I have those thoughts, but mine is I bet they, which I think is quite different.
It might
I
start
bet they're
with,
not happy. Oh, I bet they're not this.
What, when you see an attractive man?
Or when you have those sort of thoughts.
No, I've got so little. I'm so
because I guess it comes from a
insecure in that
confidence.
moment.
Because I hope it comes from a much more place of I hope they're sad.
Yeah.
But me,
so
I'm like
insecure.
I bet they're sad.
Yeah.
No, I bet they're fucking
That's what
sad.
I wish I had someone.
No, I need to.
Elle wants to.
Oh, you want it.
You're much more fucked up.
Well, I bet they're.
Well, they have to be.
Yeah, I bet they're fucking miserable.
Yeah, I
you're like, please be sad.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's such a self-conscious thing to think, but I do think it all the time, all the time, which is horrid.
But I do think when it comes to fantasies, that it's kind of amoral because we all think these things and we should be more. There's so much there that we're not talking about because it's
Does
the
it
most.
say loads about you as a that's what worries me.
Says
I know everyone has them, but like, what does it say about? Do you have a savior complex?
No,
that's just. I don't.
I think it genuinely was more. Imagine 2 foot in a gun.
Imaginative.
I think it would really or just imagine 2 foot in a cunt into the Thames.
Yeah, but there's a reason you have that fantasy.
Yeah.
You want to be the saviour. It's not. I don't think some of them. There's no saviour complex, so we don't have to diagnose everything with an issue.
Yeah.
That's almost just like, wouldn't it be great if?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't
just
it be great
for the glory?
If, yeah.
For that's a saving the day in the most badass way.
Yeah.
We're running over time on the main, so we'll switch over to Patreon. Thanks very much for listening. Do you have anything particularly you want to plug?
You got some plugs.
I've got
tour dates.
I've got some tour dates coming up in June. I'm playing Coco on the 16th of June. And I got an album coming out on the 14th of April. It might be the 16th. I can't remember. And that's that.
The album's called Pints Akimbo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The album's called Pissed on a Bus. Sorry, that's a follow-up. I don't want to spoil any new tracks.